Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called Solitude. Daniel Harper woke to silence. Not the comfortable kind, not the early morning quiet where birds hadn't quite started yet or the sleepy stillness after a snowfall. This silence felt wrong. He lay still in bed, staring at the ceiling fan above him. It wasn't moving. The power must have gone out overnight. That happened sometimes in Belmere, the small mountain town where outages lasted an hour at most and always came with the distant hum of generators. But there was no hum. No refrigerator buzz from the kitchen. No car passing the street. No dog barking. Nothing. He sat up slowly. The digital clock beside him was black. 7:42, or at least it had been before the power died. His phone rested on the nightstand. He grabbed it. No signal. No Wi-Fi. Battery, 98%. Okay, he muttered, voice sounding louder than it should in his own room. Daniel got dressed and walked downstairs. Each step creaked louder than usual. The house felt empty in a way he couldn't explain, as if sound itself didn't want to stay inside. He opened the front door. The street was empty. Not quiet empty. Abandoned empty. Mrs. Klein's car sat halfway out of her driveway, driver door open. Across the street, a bicycle lay on its side in the middle of the road. A garden hose ran unattended, water pooling into the gutter and continuing to run like it had been forgotten mid-task. He stepped onto the porch. Hello. The word didn't echo. It just stopped. Daniel walked down the driveway, heart beginning to thump. The air felt heavy, like before a storm, except the sky was perfectly blue. He crossed the road and knocked on Mrs. Klein's open car door. Mrs. Klein. Nothing. Her purse sat on the passenger seat. Keys still in the ignition. The engine was cold. He backed away. A sudden realization crawled up his spine, not fear yet, but the shape of it. There were no sounds of people anywhere. Not distant lawnmowers. Not kids waiting for the school bus. Not even insects. He turned slowly. Belmere should have been awake by now. Instead, it looked paused. Daniel ran to the town square. The grocery store doors were open. Inside, carts stood abandoned in aisles. A carton of eggs lay shattered on the floor, dried yellow across the tiles. The radio behind the counter was on, but silent, emitting only faint static. Hello, he shouted. No response. He tried the police station. Empty chairs. Coffee still warm in a mug. The jail cell door hung open. Everywhere he went, it was the same, people had been interrupted. Not evacuated. Not fled. Just gone. His breathing quickened. Okay, think. He grabbed the station radio and pressed the button. This is Daniel Harper from Belmere. If anyone can hear me, respond. Static. He tried again. Nothing. The silence pressed in heavier, almost physical. He stumbled outside, and stopped. Every clock in the town square read the same time. 7:42. Bank clock. Pharmacy clock. Church tower. All frozen. He checked his phone again. 7:42. But he'd been awake at least an hour. The second hand wasn't moving. Daniel's mouth went dry. He spent the day searching. Houses. School. Hospital. Even the hiking trails. No bodies. No blood. No signs of violence. Just absence. As night fell, he returned home, shaking. He turned on a flashlight and sat at the kitchen table. The beam cut through darkness that seemed thicker than normal, almost smoky, though nothing burned. He tried to sleep. He couldn't. At 7:42 p.m. according to his unmoving phone, something changed. A sound. Footsteps upstairs. Daniel froze. His heart pounded in his ears. Slow steps crossed the hallway above him. He whispered, "Hello." The steps stopped. Then continued. Not walking. Pacing. Back and forth. Back and forth. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen and climbed the stairs. Who's there? The hallway was empty. But the footsteps continued. Behind him. He spun around, nothing. The sound circled him, perfectly timed, like someone orbiting just outside sight. Then a whisper brushed past his ear. You stayed. Daniel bolted downstairs and ran outside into the street. The entire town was dark. But in every house, he saw movement in the windows. Shadows. Hundreds of them. Standing where people should be. Watching. He screamed and ran until exhaustion dropped him to his knees in the square. When he looked up, it was morning again. 7:42. The sun had reset. The hose still ran. The bike still lay in the road. The eggs were unbroken. Daniel stumbled backward. No. He ran to his house. His bed was untouched. Everything was exactly as it had been yesterday morning. Except him. He hadn't dreamed it. He knew he hadn't. And when night came again, the shadows returned. Each day repeated. Every night, the unseen walkers paced his halls. Whispering. You stayed. He stopped sleeping. Stopped eating. Stopped trying to escape the mountains. Every road looped him back into town after miles of walking. Time did not pass. The sun rose and fell but clocks never moved. And every night the shadows grew closer. On the sixth day, he saw one clearly. Standing across his bedroom doorway. A human silhouette, but wrong, stretched slightly taller than the frame. It leaned toward him. Why didn't you go? Daniel sobbed. Go where? The figure tilted its head. Then spoke in his own voice. Everyone else heard it. On what felt like the 100th cycle, Daniel broke. He stood in the center of town screaming into the sky. Take me too. The air trembled. The silence deepened. And suddenly, sound rushed back. Wind. Birds. Engines. He collapsed as people shouted around him. Paramedics lifted him onto a stretcher. A police officer spoke gently. Daniel, can you hear me? He stared at the sky, tears streaming. They're back. Everyone's back. The officer frowned. They never left. Daniel's heart stopped. What? You wandered out of your house at 7:42 this morning, she said carefully. You've been standing in the square for 30 seconds screaming. He shook his head violently. No, I was alone for days, months. The officer exchanged a glance with another responder. Daniel, today is February 5th. Same day. His breathing grew shallow. No, I saw knights. I heard them. They said I stayed. The officer hesitated. Stayed from what? Daniel opened his mouth. And remembered. A low hum. At 7:42. A vibration in his bones that morning before he woke. A feeling telling him to leave. To run outside. To follow everyone else. But he had rolled over. Gone back to sleep. The whisper returned behind his ears. Everyone heard the call. Everyone left. You didn't. The officer asked softly, Daniel, why are you staring behind me? Daniel's eyes trembled. Because standing behind every person in the town square were tall shadows. Perfectly aligned with them. Except his. He had none. The shadows slowly turned their heads toward him. And every person in Belmere spoke at once, mouths unmoving, voices layered over reality. You belong to the quiet now. Daniel screamed as the world went silent again. The officer vanished. The sky froze. And the clocks all read 7:42. Forever.